Well, good Saturday, everyone. Here we are, 7:04, looking live. This is from our Plaza Cam. Nice texture to the sky. It's been a great day. Great weekend day here in Kansas City. Today was the pick weekend day for anything outside because we're about to flip gears and get into more storms. It's going to start acting like May again. So we've had a relatively quiet May as far as we haven't had that much rain. We've only had a half inch of rain. Normally through the month of May, we get over 5 inches. So we're running way short because we haven't had a lot of storms. May is our stormiest month on average, May and into early June. So it's going to transition back into a stormy setup. Sunday and Monday, both pack storms, and there's a good chance for severe weather in there too. So I'm going to walk you through the timing, the impacts, what it looks like, and help you get ready for it, all right? Whatever you've got going on in your personal life and how this could impact that. So let's jump into it. So first off, here's kind of the big picture view. I've got the Facebook comments over here to the right too. If you've got a question or a comment, just go ahead and drop it there. I'll probably check that more toward the end. So hang with me here as we go through this. Maybe I'll answer your question for you. By the way, this is live as of 7:05, so it will be recorded, and on your Facebook stream, you may catch it later, and you can just scrub through the video. So Sunday, we're first warning that there are storms likely on Sunday. I expect storms. There's a chance that some could be severe. 81's the high temperature, so generally thinking spring thunderstorms. A couple of them could be pretty stout. We'll see. Monday, though, different. Monday, not only are storms likely, but severe weather is likely. So these will be mid to late day. This is our top alert, first warned weather day. Monday has our attention. You should remain informed. You should be watching Monday. But even Sunday, you've got plans outside that's likely to have an impact on you there. So let's look at the threat levels here. So I'm going to start with Sunday evening. I don't see a tremendously high severe risk on Sunday. I see a risk, it's just not a high one. And it's primarily wind. Isolated spots could have 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and maybe some hail, quarter sizer, give or take. Tornadoes, there's a threat, but it's generally low. It's not impossible. I'll show you I've got a map that I'm going to show you here in a second. And there are some spots that have a slightly better chance of seeing a brief spin-up tornado on Sunday than others. But generally, the tornado threat's not zero on Sunday, but it's pretty low. Now, look ahead to Monday. Monday's a different animal. The hail could be huge on Monday. So one of the things that we look at for how big could hail be is how much juice do we have for storms. The more what we call instability that is in the air, that means that the storm's updrafts can be stronger, like 100-mile-per-hour winds going up into the storm, and that suspends the ice for longer, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that tells you how big your hail can get. And we've got a lot of juice, a lot of gas to work with on Monday, so we could have some really big hail out of that. Also, whenever it all comes crashing back down, you get big wind gusts. So there's potential for 75-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts on Monday evening. And the tornado threat is higher. There's a chance for tornadoes. I don't see a huge tornado threat right now, though it does depend on how Sunday plays out. Every event impacts the next. So that may change. There is a chance for tornadoes. We need to be thinking we'll probably have a tornado watch on Monday. But to me, what really jumps out is hail and wind as of right now. We'll see how things play out. Now, through both of these days, not everybody's going to see severe weather. You may be at your house on Tuesday and look back at this and say, I didn't get that bad of a storm. I don't think everybody's going to get bad storms. I think everybody's going to get a lot of rain. But in spots, these storms are going to be strong. They're going to be in our area. They may pass over your area. So we just want to get you ready for that. So generally, one of the times to be aware, on Sunday, 6 p.m. to midnight is the window for storms in Kansas City. And then on Monday, it's 4 p.m. to midnight. It's a little bit longer of a window on Monday, but both of them are late in the day and into the night before the threat comes down. Let's take a closer look at Sunday. So it's going to start sooner. These are going to come from the southwest. They're going to come from central Kansas and then blow toward us. So you might see them as early as 4 on Sunday, southwest of the metro, Garnett, Ottawa, Lawrence, Paola, places like that. And they may delay and not start until 7. That's what this is, a start time graphic. So between 4 and 7, they should get going southwest. For the metro, we'll see them by 6 o'clock, be thinking storms could be moving in. Right now, I'm thinking 7. If I had to give you when do storms start in Kansas City, 7, give or take. That's why we've got a little buffer there. Some computer forecasts a little sooner, some a little later, but generally around 7. And that includes Warrensburg and Clinton. You can see how that line's going to move from southwest to northeast. And then we're into Bethany and Chillicothe and Marshall, 7 to 10, roughly, for the start time. That's not when it's done. Let me show you the first warn future radar. I'm going to start with right now. Of course, it's gorgeous outside. We might see a little rain tonight. Not severe, but we could see a few showers. And this would be mainly south of Kansas City. There might be a rumble in there or two, but nothing to worry about. So Sunday, much of Sunday looks good. There's a beautiful first half of the day. There's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're still nice and dry and sunny, and it'll be good outside. What we're watching, though, is this. There you go. All right, so there's 7 p.m., what radar may look like. And these storms come blasting in out of central Kansas. So you can see how they get Garnett first and Ottawa, places like that. So they're going to be knocking on our door, if not already here, roughly 7 p.m. And where you see these pink spots, where I think the greatest severe threat is actually south of Kansas City. Butler, Lacine, Harrisonville, Paola, Clinton, Warrensburg. Just generally, we're all under the same kind of risk level that I'll show you here in just a second. But generally, what I'm looking at is a higher chance for hail and wind south of Kansas City. Doesn't mean that we couldn't see it here. I just think generally that's where it looks better. So this might just be a line of strong spring storms that comes through Sunday evening, but we've got all these graduation ceremonies. It's a beautiful spring, warm. The first half of the day is going to be great. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of people outside, and this could catch you off guard. And with all the events that we've got going on, something to be aware of, which is why we have the first one. There we are into 10 o'clock, and storms are still around, so you might get hit a time or two. The initial round would likely be the strongest for you, but we're going to have some storms on Sunday. So storms are coming. Just a question of how punchy are they going to be. Notice, where do we see the pink again here? We've got red over Kansas City, which on this forecast radar typically means, thunderstorms and good thunderstorms, but not necessarily severe. We look for the pink and white, and where you get that's down south again. So that's, again, why I'm thinking we probably have a little better shot there. Anyway, we're all under a level 2 out of 5 severe risk for, Maryville and St. Joe and KC. So there's not a risk change right now, though that could adjust in future updates, between Kansas City and these places to the south. So it just depends on how these storms form and where they launch from. So a level 2 out of 5 for us. Again, mainly hail on Sunday evening. Now, if you're in Lawrence, Ottawa, and Garnett, you're under a higher level 3 risk. If we were to see a brief tornado, this would be the better shot for it. So what's going to happen on Sunday is storms are going to fire up and be nasty in central Kansas outside of our coverage area. And when they first get going, they'll have a tornado risk. And the places closest to where they first form will have the higher chance. So that's Lawrence and Ottawa and Garnett. The farther they get from that, more ripe atmosphere, they're going to be on a weakening trend. It's kind of like, I used this analogy yesterday. If you're doing 70 miles an hour down the interstate and you run out of gas, you're still going to be going for a bit before you come to a stop. These storms the gas is going to run out, but they're still going to be moving in. So how much is left of them after they get away from the really good environment that's in central Kansas? So closer to that, you've got a better shot at stronger storms. That's why there's that change there. Okay, so that's Sunday. Now we're into Monday. And let me back this up here just a little bit. Monday, the first half of the day, largely dry. Though we could have some storms around, there we go, early in the morning. That's that first round. Then we catch a break. So here we are, noon on Monday. And if it looks like this is one of the question marks on Monday. Are we going to have kind of scattered rain around on Monday and maybe some thunderstorms? In fact, let me see if I can even show you this. If it looks like this, our risk would be stronger. It'd be higher for severe weather on Monday. So I'm going to make a little tweak here because there's something I want you to see. Can you see this? Yes, that's displaying. Okay, so I'm going to make a little tweak here. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here, because there's a couple ways Monday could play out. Okay, so if it looks like I just showed you, then Monday afternoon and evening will have a pretty notable severe risk. But if this happens, see that line of storms that comes through about noon? Now that wouldn't necessarily be severe, but this is another one of our short range, really good computer forecasts, and that could take some punch out of the atmosphere. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that Monday, even with, it's got high potential, it's got a high ceiling to produce severe weather in our area, but it's not a lock. And this is what we call a failure mode. And if we have storms that are kind of messy, it cools the atmosphere and it takes away the punch from the later storms. So we'll, dial in this as we get closer to Monday. Sunday, we've got a pretty good beat on now, and Monday, it's one of two scenarios. But I just want you to see that for Monday, that if we have these like early afternoon storms, that could diminish the later storm threat into the evening, at least somewhat. Okay, so, but I just wanted to show you that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. So now let's move ahead and look at what is most likely right now. Is that there we are, noon on Monday, and much of Monday's dry. Then these come in. All right, so this is the main event that rolls in on Monday. So widespread storms are back. This is by 5 o'clock. Notice we've got more of the pinks around, and these would kind of flare up in, all over the area. Not everybody would get them, but we'd have more of them. So those put everybody just about under the level 3 risk. Now we've got level 2 to the north, if you're way up there by Iowa, but anybody in that zone could have a nasty severe storm. So these, if it plays out that way that I just showed you, then you've got the potential for some big hail and some really strong winds and maybe even a few tornadoes within that orange zone that we have. So that's the potential. All right, so that's the storm setup. That's the timing with everything. Here's how much rain we're looking to get out of this, because we get quite a lot on Sunday and then we get a lot more on Monday. Monday brings even heavier rain and into Monday night. Look at that. 2 to 3 inches is what is being forecast right now for the Kansas City area, with 3 to 4 in spots north and east, 1 to 2 to the south. So widespread upwards of 2 inches. Flooding is a concern, especially Monday and Monday night. If the storms are kind of slow moving, which Sunday they're going to be heavy rain, but it looks like it'll move along. Monday might be more lingering downpours, and it really stacks up on us. So we could have some areas of flash flooding. That's another thing that we'll watch. Okay, in the meantime, this is what we got at the moment. Another view from the plaza. Temperatures are awesome. We're in the 70s. We got 75 in KC. We're near 80 in Harrisonville and Ottawa and Paola. Evening plan looks like this. This evening's no trouble. After 10 o'clock, I've got a slim 20% chance, but 70s turn to the 60s. It's going to be nice, nice, nice. By tomorrow morning, we're in the mid-50s. Sunday morning starts pretty. It's cool. It's sunny. We've got a light east wind. Your afternoon high tomorrow is going to be in the low 80s. And looking at graduation and afternoon plans in general, we've got the Royals that are playing tomorrow too. It's a 1:10 first pitch. Generally, that looks all right. 1, 2, 3, even up to 4 and 5, you're probably good. Temperatures there, warm from the 70s to the 80s. But you saw what I showed you on that forecast radar. We get to 7 p.m., heads up. They may be blasting in and may be severe, but spring thunderstorms expected. Here's a 7-day, and we get to Tuesday. The severe threat's gone, but we still have some patchy rain left over, and it's cooling down. We're at 70 there. Wednesday, 62 for a high temperature would tie the record cool high for the day. This is normal for late October. So we'll go from May heat and humidity, it's going to be pretty humid on Monday, to October weather, fall vibes, like Halloween type stuff. Let me get you into Memorial Day weekend. Thursday, we're back up into the upper 60s, then it's back in the mid to upper 70s by Friday and Saturday as you head into Memorial Day weekend. There's a low rain chance there. Doesn't look like much at this point, so I'm not too worried about that. And there's a setup for you, everybody. So let's see what Facebook questions we've got here. Is there going to be tornadoes tomorrow and Monday? Zachary. All right. So the tornado chance again is there. Sunday looks pretty low, but not impossible. And Monday has a chance. It depends on a lot of things, how the storms play out. We just need to be thinking that Monday could bring a tornado threat. I think that we'll probably have a tornado watch on Monday from what I can tell from right now. So I would say, yeah, it's possible, especially Monday. Looks like severe weather is heading your way. Let's see. Okay, let's see what else. Kristen, you're very welcome. How is Baser? So Roxanne's asking about Baser. So Baser is going to be in that roughly for Sunday, roughly 7-ish time frame for storms. This is Monday's risk. Here, let me show you Sunday's. Monday, about everybody's under the same risk level. And Sunday, largely, too. It's not a huge risk on Sunday, but there's a risk. You might have a little hail and a little wind on Sunday in Baser. About 7 p.m., line of storms comes through. And then Lawrence, Ottawa, and Garnett, you guys are the ones that jump out on Sunday. Then here's Monday. And everybody's under essentially that same risk level where big hail, much higher winds, like just the potential for the strength and impacts of storms on Monday's quite a lot higher than Sunday. All right, and I think we're going to have just generally more storms on Monday than Sunday. Lindsay, Leavenworth, Caitlin's about the same as Baser. You know, whenever you go from one city to another, something like this, I would love to tell you that Leavenworth is going to get it at 7:15 and Baser is going to get it at 17 or 25 or something. We can't do that. This is big picture stuff. This is just be aware around 7, and Leavenworth, Baser, Lee Summit, Richmond, Kansas City, Leawood, Overland Park, Olathe, you've all got the same kind of idea there around the Kansas City metro. It's not going to change from one city to another in our general region. Lindsay, show us the radar. Yes, let's get back to the radar. Let me show that to you again. We'll walk through that. I'll take my time. Okay, here's today. This is right now, so we've got our bearings. This is this evening. And then here's tonight. You might hear a rumble of thunder tonight or catch a quick shower, but odds are pretty low in KC. It's more likely south. Here's Sunday. Your morning's great. Beautiful, beautiful. There's noon. It's beautiful. Everything's fine, 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 fine. Then we get into, here's 5, okay? Now you start to see the storms that are blasting in out of south central Kansas. In fact, here, let me just show them to you. So I'll take us over here. Oops, let's back it up a little bit. There we go. There's 5. And they're coming from here. So that's this zone right here. This is the main risk zone on Sunday. So these storms are going to be nasty to our west. And then they're going to blow toward us on Sunday on a weakening trend. So here, let's see if I can just kind of pause that spot. So there, see how they fire up, and you've got all the whites and the pinks, and it's just, those are nasty storms in south central Kansas. And then they march toward us on a weakening trend. So they don't look as bad here, generally, as they do in south central Kansas. So now we're at 7, and they're in our area. So here's 4, 5, 6. They're in Ottawa and Garnett and Paola, roughly. This is, take this as general. Then we get into 7. Nice line of storms, though. Will they be severe? Maybe, maybe not. Might just be good spring storms. And then you see around Butler and Lacine, a little bit brighter colors there. It's probably going to be the best chance for severe storms. 8, 9. There's 9. Notice we've got some pink showing up there. Lawrence, Ottawa. Notice you guys are in that level 3 zone there too. So I'll go back a little bit. So you've got your Sunday evening plans. 8, 9. All right. Some stout storms possible. Here's 10. I mean, we're looking at a good few hours of storms. There's 11, midnight, 1. So after midnight, the severe threat should be really coming down for most of us. And then we still have some storms, especially east of KC. But this is that first cluster. This is round 1 before we recharge into Monday. All right, so there's Monday. This is our morning. Maybe some rain around. I'm going to show you this again. Here we are by noon. My question is, and nobody has an answer for sure, is if Monday at noon, what we could have is that. We could have that. And if we've got those storms, and we hope we do, we hope we get early afternoon storms on Monday, then that could pull some of the severe threat down for later in the day. If they don't happen, which is what this is displaying, so there's 2 different computer forecasts I've got in this loaded for you. If it looks like that on Monday and it's just cloudy and there's not a lot of rain around, then the atmosphere is recharging. It's regrouping after the first round, so the second round is going to have more pop. So here we go into 2, 3, KCTV5. Now, these are kind of firing more on top of us rather than blowing toward us, especially for this early round. This early round on Monday, 4 and after, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be the most intense storms. That's these guys right here. And these are the ones that could have huge hail. They could have, 70, 75 mile an hour wind gusts. When they first get going is when they'll have a tornado risk. So let me show you what I'm talking about. See how you've got this couple storms here? When they're by themselves and they're not a big blob that takes up most of the area, that's when they have the ability to spin and rotate and produce tornadoes. Whenever they start growing together, they transition pretty quickly away from a tornado threat into hail and wind. And that all depends on where they form, how quickly they make that transition. So the chances there, it won't be a very big tornado window, most likely. See how it turns into a big line there? That's a hail and wind line. And then there's another round that comes in the evening. And this is going to be possibly severe as well. This is by 9, 10, 11, midnight. That's going to be riding along a front, and that would be a widespread line of storms, and hail and wind would be the primary risk there. Okay, so hope that answers your question, Lacey. Let's see what else we have. Heather, you're very welcome. What about Overland Park? Yeah, Wendy, same thing for you. Same story as the Kansas City area. No big difference between you and Overland Park. I missed it. What time is Monday, the risk? 4 o'clock and after, Kelly, on Monday. All right. I think that's all the questions. If you've got any more, I'll be here for just a minute longer and see if anything else pops up. Otherwise, we'll leave you with that. Now, the thing is, we get hourly updates now with this, what I'm showing you here. This is the best weather tech you can get. First Warn Future Radar. We've got a couple different computer simulations of how this could play out, and we get all these updates. What's nice is when they snap into place, and then our confidence really goes up. And I'll have that at 10. The next round of updates, I'll be able to show you at 10 o'clock. So if you're interested to see how things evolve, it'll probably be small tweaks, especially for Sunday. Sunday looks pretty dialed in for timing. But Monday, we might have some adjustments in there. So if you're interested in that, join us at 10 o'clock. I'll show you the latest stuff, and we'll get you up to speed there. Regardless, we're going to have you covered the whole way through. Whenever storms like this could pose a threat, we go into what we call storm mode, which is where we have this big detailed plan with all of our meteorologists and our news team as well. We get staffed up. We're not going to leave you hanging, and we're going to be bringing lots of updates. Whenever we get into storm mode, we bring more updates, try to keep everybody up to speed. That's our whole goal. So just try to help you out and plan your day and keep you safe and away from storms. And, we just give the information, and then you can do with that what you wish and prepare as best for your personal life. That's all we're trying to do. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful for you. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate that, and hope you have a great evening too. Enjoy tonight. Tonight's awesome. Updates for you coming up at 10 o'clock. Strong tornado. Oh, one more question. Jordan, strong tornadoes or tornado outbreak? Been seeing a lot on social media. Good question, Jordan. Yeah, you're going to see a lot. This event will be a tornado outbreak. Between Sunday and Monday, there's going to be likely a number of tornadoes produced, and there is potential for some strong ones. So the setup, the atmosphere is definitely capable of producing strong tornadoes, and several of them Sunday and Monday. The question is where? And I'm focused on us, and we are not in the middle of the greatest tornado threat. We're really out of it on Sunday. All right, so there's a shot, but we're really on the very edge of a chance of a tornado on Sunday. There's a chance, but we're on the very edge of the chance. Monday, we're within the envelope of potential tornadoes. And could they be strong? Yeah, it's possible. Enough is there on Monday. It's not an off the charts in our area on Monday for tornadoes. Now, Oklahoma, yeah. South Central Kansas, yeah. They've got a lot. So that's where we expect the greatest tornado risk will be. We're within the potential zone, and we might see them, but it's really focused right now likely just to our south and west. So that's how it looks right now. We'll see how all this evolves. So it's kind of like if you were to give it levels and grades, like we would have if the levels go to 5, our risk for tornadoes might be a 2, which is, hey, there's a 20% chance that your boat sinks. You would want to know that, like, hey, it could happen. But it might be a level 4 or something like that in portions of south central Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, places like that. So, yeah, in zones, there's going to be a tornado outbreak. Okay, everybody, that's all I got for you. I'm going to run for now, and I'll see you at 10 o'clock if you wish to join us there. Take care. Have a great weekend.